Hello. So let us start with the front-end design, which is one of the most important part in full stack development as well as in website development. So whenever we design a web page, we use the box model. The box model is essentially a box that wraps around the HTML element. It consists of margins, borders, padding, and some contents. This can be understood by looking at this diagram. Suppose we have some content to be displayed. This content can have some padding. The content can have padding, and then there can be some border. The thickness of border can be defined. We can increase the thickness of border. We can remove the border at all. We can increase this padding. The padding is the gap between the content and the border. And if we have to give some gap between one content and another content, then that is done with the help of margin. So we'll try to discuss all these things and we'll see some examples of box model. But remember that box model is one of the very important topic in website development and in front-end development. So I'll first try to show some example of box model. See, I've just you can see the screen. There are so many boxes, and any web page is made up of a number of boxes. There's the first box here. You can see Etihad Airways. Then there is top stories. Then we have the shopping box. Then if you scroll, then every web page has a lot of boxes in it. See this lady. There's a photograph here. Then there's some heading. Then there are some tips and tricks. Here you can see likes, dislikes, comments. So every web page is made up of a number of boxes. So today we'll be learning how to create these boxes. You can see there's so many types of boxes. In this box, there is uh, some players playing cricket, and then there is some content. These are the small icons there. In this right side box, you can see there is only a heading. There's no image as such. In this, there is one image, and this has a box with borders, and these borders have a radius because these are not rectangular, these are circular border. So all these things can be developed with the help of box model. So we'll try to use box model. See, in this box, you can see the image has the caption which is on the image. Whereas in this box, you can see the image has the caption which is below the image. So there can be different types of boxes, and a web page is usually made up of a number of boxes. So today we'll be learning how to create a box model. So let us come to the coding part. So I'll be displaying a box model. I'll try to make a box model, a box simply, and then we'll try to understand how these box models are created. So I'll create a new box model example 2.html. Here I'll first create a web page. Let us give the title box model. Now here we can have a CSS file. So I'll use link. This will be the CSS file where we'll be defining all the styles. So this is a CSS file. We have link, we'll be creating this. And now I'm coming here in the body. Now we'll be creating the first box. Okay. And then we'll be learning all those examples. See, these are the properties which can be there. It can consist of margins and can consist of borders, padding, and some actual elements. And you can come to the output and you can see the output here. The content, then there's padding, then there's border, then there's margin. So let us see how we can create a box model, and then we'll do one thing. We'll use a box model to wrap up all these things that we have in this page, box model example one. And this is only the theory. We'll try to add a box model into this. So coming back to the code, let us now learn how to create a box. So I'm here now. Here we'll start with a div. Okay, whenever we create a box model, first of all, we have to create a div. So in this div, what we will do, we will add a class. So the class is equals to, suppose we'll use card. So this is a div, and in this we'll use h1. Uh, understanding the box model. Let's give a heading, understanding the box model, and then we'll have some details about the box model. So let me copy from here the content. Okay, so I've copied the content and I'm pasting it here. So this is the content, and let us say we'll have one image, img src is equals to, suppose we have this box here, and at present we have not used the CSS, we have not created the class. So this web page is without the CSS, without the style. Now let us come to the output and see how it is looking. So see, this is understanding box model. Then there is a photo. The photo, we have not mentioned the size, so you can see how it is looking. And then this is the CSS, this is the description that we have used. So it is not looking great. Now we'll be coming to the coding part, and let's first give the image some height. Okay, so we can mention width equals to 200 pixels, just to understand how it looks. And now we'll come back to the output and see. So this is how it is looking. There's the box, there's the title, and now since we have not used any box property, it is looking like this. Now what we will do, we'll come to the CSS. So here is the style1.css. I'll come here, and here I'll create a dot card class. And in this dot card class, what I'll mention, first of all, I'll mention border. Now, border has three elements: the width of the border, then how the line will be drawn, can be solid, and then we give the color. So I'll give the color as, suppose, red, just to show how the border is looking. Now I'll give the width. So width of the box will be, suppose, 500 pixels. Now I'll give padding. Suppose I give padding to be 50 pixels, will understand the width, padding, everything. And then I'll give some margin. The margin is suppose 100 pixels, and I'll give text align property as center. So these are the properties that we have used. Now let us see the output, how it is looking. So at present, we cannot see any change in it. Let us see the code. We have created a dot card. We have a border, we have width, we have everything here. Okay, it's mentioned property, box example, and div class is card. Okay, the height is mentioned, but it is not getting linked. So let us see what is missing. If you can see style1.css, we have mentioned style1.css. Okay, let's see, control plus click. Yes, it is linked. So this has no issues. Let me see. Card is, oh, this is the different file. Now, let me check with the box model. Link rel is correct. Everything is correct. So why is this not showing up properly? We'll have to find the reason why this is not getting linked. So let us see. Div class is card. Card class must be present here. Okay. Here we do not have to mention dot. Okay. So when we write a class, we don't mention dot here. Dot is mentioned in the style1.css. You see, here we mention dot. This is a user defined name. So it can be anything. It can be box also. So that is why it was not showing. Now let us see how the output is coming. See here. So everything has come in a box. So this is the heading. Okay, then this is the image, then this is the description. Now what I'll do, I'll bring the image at the top. I'll try to make something like this. Something like one of these. Okay, so it can be like this. We'll have an image, then we'll have some descriptions, and then we can have some more items in it. So to get this, now I'll make some changes. So be very careful, see it carefully. Control Z, sorry. That is Control X. I'm putting the image, and here I'll use a class for the image. The class will be card img, and we'll create one more class in this style1.css. So I'm coming to style1.css, and here I'll write dot card img. Since we are doing it for the first time, you might be finding it confusing, but it will get clear once it's done. So width will be 100%, and let me give border radius. So border radius is 12 pixel, and here also let me give a border radius. Border radius is 12 pixels. Now I'll come here, and what we have done, we have put an image, we have put a heading, and then we have put a description. We have tried to create a box. Coming to the here, see now. Now we have a box. In this box, we have an image, and in this below the image, we have a this heading, and then we have this description. Now I'll add some properties, I'll remove some properties, and then we'll see what are the differences in it. So now we know that there's a content, then there's a padding, then there's a border, then there's a margin. So I'll remove this photo and I'll bring some another photo. So instead here, using the box model, I'll use https://splash. And splash is a site from where we can directly bring some photos. Source splash.com. Then we give a size of the photo that we need. Suppose it is 600 by 800, and then suppose we give that is. And now coming, we couldn't find that photo. So this photo was not, maybe because there's some issue. Let us see. So this photo, it is not getting linked. https://source.unsplash.com, and okay, this is correct. Maybe okay, but the photo might not come. But this is the area. Now what we have to understand here is, see this, the gap between this red border and this image, the on either side, on all these four sides, is the padding. Padding is the gap between the content and this border. So if we want this gap to decrease, then what we have to do? We have to decrease the padding width, padding amount, and this, the gap from the top to the border, left to the border, this is what we call as margin. So if we want margin to be less or more, then what we have to do? We have to change this. And if we have to decrease the padding, then we have to change this. Suppose I make it 5 pixels, and let us see what happens. Now see, this image and the border is coming close because there's only 5 pixels in between. So the image and the border can have some gap, the content and the border can have some gap, and that is controlled through the property padding. And the gap between the border and the outer container is called the margin. So if we have to increase the margin or decrease the margin, then what we have to do? We can control it from here. Suppose I'll make it 200. So now let us see. See this gap, the top gap, the left gap. Since on the right hand side we do not have any content, so it is not appearing, but it is like that. So now what we do? We'll come to the code and we give 2 values. Suppose we give 200, and so the first value is for see, shorthand property set values of thickness of the margin area. If left is omitted, it is same as right. If bottom is omitted, it is same as top. If right is omitted, it is same as top. Negative values for margin properties are allowed, but there may be implementation specific limits for some particular browsers. Now let us come to the output to see. Now see, on the left hand side, the gap is different, and on the top the gap is different. Why? Because we have mentioned top, this is top and bottom, and this is for left and right. So the margin between left and right is the second property, and the top and bottom is the first property. So now if we give auto, then what it will take, it will centralize it. See, now what is happening? The left margin and the right margin is automatically adjusted. How? Because we have used the auto property. So when we use the auto property, it is automatically adjusted. So this here, it is automatically adjusting. Now, what we have to do, suppose we want the border to be of larger thickness, or it can be of different colors. So I'll get 5 pixel, and instead of red, I'll use suppose gray. So now we are giving thickness to the border. Now let us come to the output. See, now this is the border, and in between border and the content, we have the gap that is called the padding, and then this is the gap which is called the margin. So we have margin, we have padding, and now we have a box, and in this box we have an image. It is not displaying properly. I'll see how to bring that. And then we have a heading, and then we have a content. Now coming back to the code, let us bring back our original image instead of this image, because it will be better option. In the box model, we have one image. So now let us see how it is. See, this is how it is displaying. Inside the border, we have an image, and in the image we have, and beneath the image we have the heading, and we have this. So this is how we can use the properties. If we remove the text align property, we have used text align as center. That is why it is displaying like this. Now suppose I remove the text align property from the style. I'll not give text align. Then what will happen? Let us see. So if we do not give text align, see, it is coming to the left. So if we want it in the center, we can give text align. And then this is the border radius. If we don't use border radius, then what will happen? It will be a rectangular box with this width, 500 pixel. So now if we come to the output, so now you can see the border is rectangular. So in many cases, the border has a rectangle. In many cases, the border has a circular edge. So if we want a circular edge, then what we have to do? We have to mention the property called border radius. So at the corner, there will be a semi 1/4 of a circle with this radius. So suppose I give 12 pixels, so we'll have a larger border radius, and here I'll give 1 pixel. So the border will be thinner one, and I'll come here. See, this is the border with a circular edge. Then we have an image, then we have this. Now, what if we want this image to be of lesser height? Then we can control it through we have given width is 100%, but we are giving height as suppose 200 pixels. Now, see, the height is has been decreased, and here is this and then. So now if we want, uh, you can check with some more output. See these boxes. Most of the boxes have the image at the top, then the content, image at the top, then the content, image at the top, then the content. So if we want image at the top, then the content, then we can create it that way. Here you can see the image and uh, the content side by side. This will be done with the help of Flex. So that will be covering in the coming sessions. Here also you can see the image and the text, image and the text. So this way we can create a lot of things. We can bring all these things here, which is showing. So let us concentrate more on these properties. So whenever we create a box, we have a border property. Border properties have three elements: width of the border. Then we have the line, how the line will be. It can be solid, it can be dotted, and it can be dashed. So there are three properties for border. Now let us see in dotted how it is showing. Uh, the dots are there, but it may not be visible because the width is very small. So if we give the width to be 10 pixel, then you can see this. This is how. And the border can be a dashed border also. So when we use a dashed border, then you can see the output, how the output is looking. So this is how the output will be looking. And if we use the property as solid, so it will be a solid line. You can see the output in this one. So this is the border. Then we have some gaps between the border and the content, that is called padding. Then we have a gap between the outer area, outer container and the border, that is called margin. Margin has the top and the bottom width and left and the right width that can be mentioned. So in the margin, this 200 pixel is top and bottom, and this is auto, means on the left and right side that it will be centrally aligned. Then we have a border radius. So these are the properties, these are the common properties which every box will be required. So we have today discussed this with common properties which will be used in the boxes. Now let us add one more card in it, and I'll come to the content. I'll copy this once again. I'll paste it. Now suppose in this we have the heading first and then the image and then understanding the box model. And now let us see how it appears. See, we have one box with image at the top and the second box with heading at the top and this. Now, this is the gap, the top and bottom gap. This should be decreased now. So to decrease the top and bottom, what we'll do? We'll come to the style and we'll decrease the margin. Instead of 200, let us give it 20, top and bottom to be 20. So now if we come to the output, see, this is the top gap and this is the bottom gap. So it is 20. Now let us decrease the border with 2 pixels. So this is 2 pixels border. This is the heading. If you want the heading to be center aligned, then we can use the text align property. So let us put the text align property. Text align to be center. And now if you come to the output, see how it is showing. We have first border, first box with an image at the top, then the heading. In the second one, we have the heading at the top, then the image. and then we have some descriptions. So this is how we can create a lot of boxes, and all these boxes can together create a very beautiful front end. So today, what we have discussed how to create boxes, and then we can do a lot of things in the box. Now, suppose in the first box, we want the this content to be in a particular color, not in the uh, typical black. Then what we have to do? We'll come to the code, we'll come to the CSS, and let us create one text color. And in this text color, we'll use color colon. Suppose we use the color as gray. Take gray, and there is font family. So we have mentioned two things. For the text color, it is like this. And now we can call this in this paragraph. Class is equals to text. Class equals to text. Let's see. It is text color, correct? So text is like this. Now we can come to the output and see. In the bottom, we have called this class. So it is showing it gray. This is here, it is the default color and the default font style. And here we have created a font as well as the color. So this is how we can create the boxes, and those boxes can be properly aligned. Now, at present, the boxes are coming uh, one box above and below. If we want side by side, then we have to use flex that will cover in the coming sessions. So this is how we can use a number of things in the box, and we can create and decorate our boxes properly. Suppose we want this effect for in the first box also, then what we have to do? Simply, you can call this, and here you can mention in the first div also. So now if you come to check the output, you can see the content has been written this way. The color is now different from the first one. The heading is in black color in different font, and here it is in blue. So this is how we create boxes. And this is the example of box model. Box model is very important topic whenever we want to create box model. Then we have border property, width property, padding, margin, border radius. These are the common properties that we always use in a box model. So I'll try to keep it till here. I'll share the code with you all. Try to follow, and if you have any doubt, you can refer to the code as well. I hope you are getting it. Thank you very much.